Welcome to Good Grief, the podcast where resilience meets reality. I'm your host, Dr. Christine Malone. In this podcast, we delve deep into the stories of individuals who've triumphed over tragedy, adversity, and trauma. In every episode, we bring you raw and honest narratives from guests who faced life's most challenging moments head on. Through candid conversations, they share their journeys of resilience, shedding light on the strategies, mindset shifts, and support systems that empowered them to rise above their darkest hours. Join us as we explore the profound depths of human resilience and discover how, even in the face of life's toughest trials, there can be light, growth, and yes, good grief. Okay, listeners, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. My guest is Cathy Nesbitt. She is a health and wellness advocate and the founder of Cathy's Crawley Composters, Cathy's Sprouters, and Cathy's Laughter Club. She is a multi-award-winning visionary who inspires individuals to live a more joy-filled, sustainable life. Cathy, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do.
Thank you, Christine. I'm excited to be here. So I am located in Canada, just north of Toronto, and it's the 23rd anniversary of my worm composting business, Cathy's Crawley Composters. Selling worms by the pound for indoor composting. Who doesn't want that? And yeah, so my working title is Cathy Crawley Laughing Bean Queen. Worms, sprouts, and laughter.
Tell us a bit about the laughing part, as we were talking before we started recording. Very curious to hear how does laughter impact the lives of someone who maybe is going through something or has gone through something? What does laughter have to do with it?
Laughter. So laughter yoga is not doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing as a cardiovascular exercise. Started in 1995 by a medical doctor, and his goal is world peace. Yes, we need it. There are clubs in over 120 countries. And so laughter is the opposite of stress. When we're laughing, it brings us to the present. We're not thinking about anything. We can't even run away because when we're laughing full on, our knees get weak. When we're fully engaged in the laughter, we can't really move. And it's when we're laughing, we're secreting the love drugs, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins versus cortisol and adrenaline. Laughter just brings us to the present. So it just helps us. It helps us manage. It doesn't make our problems go away. It helps us cope easier.
Yes. I'm thinking about, I have two young grandsons, one's 3 and one's 5. And when I'm having a bad day, if I just look at their little pictures, I mean, my face I smile and I'm like, I remember something that we did and I laugh. And I just so look forward to those fun interactions with them after they're coming over tonight for a sleepover. But yeah, so it's just, I totally get you. You feel much better when you're laughing than you do when you're sad or depressed or whatever it might be. So I know you used to do something laughter yoga with your mother-in-law. So tell us a bit about that and kind of how that started and what you got out of that.
Yeah, so I've been married. It's 37 years. We dated for 9 years, so we've been together a long time. And my mother-in-law is such a beauty. She had 4 sons, so I think she just really wanted daughters too. Like not that she doesn't love her son, she does, but she didn't have. She would always say, "Oh, thank God for my daughters-in-law, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't learn anything." Like the sons are like, "Hey, what's new? Nothing. How are you? Good." And the daughters will be like, "Oh, blah blah blah." Daughters-in-law later. And she would tell people, whenever Cathy asked me to do something, I say yes, because it's always an adventure. So I phoned her up when I was introduced to laughter yoga. I phoned her up and I said, "Hey, Mary, you want to go to laughter yoga?" And she said, "What's that?" And I said, "I don't know, but I don't want to go alone." And it became our date night. So I came to laughter with my mother-in-law. She passed in 2021. And it was a monthly club. So we would go out for dinner. And she was so beautiful. She would say, "We better not have garlic." And I'd say, as long as we both have it. Because when you're laughing, you're exhaling. The beautiful part about laughter, there's so many benefits for our health.
Mhm.
Oxygen, our brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body as an operating principle.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So when we're stressed, we're living in this perpetual state of stress. We're not breathing properly. So our body's not getting what it needs. For sure, our brain isn't. Like, ever lost your keys? And you gotta go. Right? You're flopping around, you're like, oh, where are my keys? Maybe yelling at people or whatever you're doing. Um, yeah, so our brain is literally deprived of oxygen. And so although your brain will know where the keys are, it cannot help you.
Right? That's actually I thought, yeah, definitely your brain will know if you've left them somewhere. Actually, yeah, that's actually a good point. I never really thought about
Right, but it's being deprived of oxygen. So when next time you lose something, I can't stop you from losing something. Sorry about that. How Canadian. I can give you a little tip. So if you find yourself flopping around because you lost your phone, keys, glasses, and you're all stressed because you got to go, stop, take a nice deep breath in, laugh it off, ha 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 ha, apologize to all the people, and then you'll find your phone, keys, glasses,
yeah, wherever it was you left them. Yeah, that's
wherever you left them.
actually a little tip I'm gonna share with my husband who constantly loses his keys. So tell us about something about her funky pink flowered running shoes.
Yeah, so when she passed, we had the same size. We had the same size shoes. So when we were going through cleaning out her apartment, I saw these pink running shoes. She was a tremendous walker. She walked everywhere. She was a she walked every day, like miles and miles. And there were these pink shoes that looked brand new. She must have bought them fairly recently. Or maybe they were the indoor shoes, I don't know. And so I these shoes, um, let me go back to the laughter. So we were in the laughter club and it was our date night. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much. And it was at a place in Toronto. Maybe 20,000 people lived at this corner. It was a very densely populated corner. And every month the numbers dwindled in the laughter club. And eventually, because she was renting space, the laughter teacher, she had to close the club. She said, I'm, I'm not making money. And it's not, maybe not about making tons of money, but you still don't want to lose money. And walked outside and I was literally was like, well, look at all these condos. They just don't know. It's marketing, right? They just aren't aware that this super fun thing is right here, this health plan right here in their basement. They don't know. And I decided to get trained at that time. So I became trained as a leader, a teacher. I'm a laughter ambassador. And Mary, my mother-in-law, would go with me whenever I asked her, like out of town, I'd say, oh, there's this laughter thing. And okay. And we'd jump in the car and we'd go to this laughter gig. And she was so supportive, such a beauty. Um, and I have a laughter club online. So my mother in 2021, my mother-in-law had been, she went into the hospital. She had cancer. And, we knew she probably wasn't coming out. I have a laughter partner, a laughter teacher partner, and I said to her, my mother-in-law's in the hospital, and I want to have my club tomorrow. This was Monday night, so I said, I want to have my club tomorrow. I don't know if I can run the club. So can you? So I found out, I opened up my Zoom room. She was there, my partner was there, and I found out 10 minutes before my club was to go that my mother had passed. My mother-in-law had passed.
Mhm.
So I stayed in the energy. I had my camera off so nobody knew. And I said, please don't tell them why I'm not here. Because I wanted them to enjoy the time. I didn't want them to be thinking sad thoughts. And because I came to laughter yoga with my mother-in-law, I didn't want it to leave with her passing. I wanted it to be a gift that because we enjoyed it so much together, and it's a vibration. When you're sad and depressed and anxious, it's a low vibrating energy. Laughter's high vibration. And so I really wanted to remember Mary and our time together and all the laughter we had done together. So cleaning out her place, those shoes, beautiful pink. They have pink flowers on there. They're so beautiful and they fit. So I'm like, oh, every time I get a paid laughter gig, I bring Mary with me. So I wear those shoes and it's like she's there with me. So that Tuesday that she passed, I wasn't able to laugh. I of course I was crying in the corner, just imagining, everything. Um, and so those shoes have. I feel like what is it? The Wizard of Oz with the ruby shoes. I kind of feel like that whenever I put those shoes on. There's Mary right there with me, and such a beauty. Just most people have, or many people have negative experiences with their in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, my mother-in-law, her mother-in-law was horrible to her. And I was like, how could you, like, she's so, this gentle, like cherub. She's like this angelic woman. How could you be anything but nice to her? Because she was so accommodating. Anyway, who knows why? So I think that because she had that experience, she decided, and she had 4 sons, so she was going to have 4 daughters-in-law. And I think she learned that the daughters-in-law run the family.
Mm. For the most part, yep.
For the most part, right? I mean, we kind of set the social calendar for the most part. I'm sure there's exceptions, but the women are the ones that run the house and do the things and the social calendar. So if you're not getting along with the daughter-in-law, you may not see your sons.
Yep. Yep.
And so she was such a beauty. And yeah, so those shoes, thank you for asking about the shoes. They just bring me so much joy, and I was able to maintain my love of laughter, because I've heard of people that laugh together and then one partner dies, and then the laughter dies in both of them.
Mm.
And it's such a high vibration magic medicine that when you're laughing, you're secreting dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So all the love drugs, you're oxygenating your beautiful body. So there's so many health benefits to laughing. Yeah, for anybody that's in a stressful situation. And people will say to me, Cathy, how can I laugh? There's so many things going on in the world. So many things, right? And it's like, oh, they're still standing here. Let's heap something else on them. Oh, they're still standing here. Let's raise the price of groceries. Let's, I'm sure it's not like that, but sometimes it feels like that. Like, oh, okay, there's so many things to carry around. How do we laugh? So I say, here's the thing. It's easy to laugh when things are good. When we're all feeling great and everything's in order and life is grand, easy to laugh. Everybody can laugh. It doesn't matter what personality you are. We can all laugh together. When there's a stressor, that's when you see people's colors.
Yeah.
That's when you see how people, like some people get angry, some people shout, some people go quiet, some cry. Um, when we're stressed, that's when we need to laugh, because it's like the pressure cooker. When we're stressed, we're secreting all the stress hormones. We're not breathing properly. We're doing damage to our body if we're under too much stress for too long. And that's our life today, because our amygdala, I mean, I'm not saying anything you don't know, but the amygdala, for those listening, is the stress center. That's the fear center, and it is meant to keep us alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's so we can escape the situation. Oh, you're in danger. You better get out of here. Okay, good.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And now we don't need that. We're not under it. It's so rare today that we're in imminent danger,
Mm-hmm.
but our body acts as if we act as if there's, a saber-toothed tiger in the next room and it's coming to get us. That's what our body is doing. And it takes hours for our body to recover from a stressful situation. Like if we've had a fight with somebody and we've been shouting, it takes hours for our body to come back down. But the opposite is true. If you have a laughter session and you're secreting all the love drugs, your body's fully oxygenated, your body's having a party, it also is hours for those chemicals to be creating in your body. But it feels so good.
So tell me what happens in a laughter club or a laughter session. I'm intrigued on what exactly is going on in there.
So it's not jokes or comedy. Right? Jokes are cultural. Two people going somewhere, it's probably not funny for those two people.
Yeah.
It's little games to inspire the laughter. So there is clapping, and the clapping, you're clapping palm to palm. You're activating meridians. So the rhythm is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and the words are ho ho, ha ha ha. And that gives it, when I was introduced to laughter yoga, I thought this part was so weird. Like, this is so random. Why are we clapping? What the heck? Because I don't need priming. It's like Pavlov's dog. What the clapping does, it sets us up like, oh, we start ho ho ha ha ha. We send a note to our brain, hey, it's happy time. Time to laugh. And we come alive. We start secreting the love drugs, we're fully oxygenated, we're connecting. And have you heard of mirror neurons?
I have not.
Mirror neurons. So if you smile at someone, probably they're going to smile back.
Okay.
Or if you see somebody crying, you might feel sad too. Those are the mirror neurons. And that's the piece. Very few mammals have it, and humans have it, monkeys have it, and some birds have it. But otherwise, it's kind of in our frontal lobe, and it's part of that connector where, um, yeah, so laughter is contagious. So when we're in a laughter club, we automatically start feeling better, even if we're not participating. And the body doesn't know the difference between real and simulated laughter.
Now, is this something a person could do on our own? I'm sitting here at home and I'm feeling stressed, so I would like to access some of that. Is that something a person can do all by themselves?
Yes, and it's a little bit challenging. Even as a trained professional, it's a challenge for me to get my giggle on alone. It's not the same as doing sit-ups where you're just doing them, you're counting 300, 400, whatever. Who does that many? I don't know. We're laughing because it's kind of a participatory thing. I have a laughter buddy every morning and since December 2021. She calls me every morning, 7:30. I don't answer hello. I just start laughing. I pick up the phone. I see that it's her. No one else calls at night at 7:30 anyway. It's her. I start laughing. We laugh for 2 full minutes, but belly laughs. 1 minute of deep diaphragmatic breathing, and then 2 additional minutes of laughter. So Dr. Kateria, did I say that it started in India?
No.
Oh, so laughter yoga started in India by a medical doctor, so it has street cred, Dr. Madan Kateria, and his goal is world peace. Wow. I believe it started in 1995 so we could be ready for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, there was very few opportunities to laugh online. And even Dr. Kateria believed that you needed to be in person to get the benefits of the laughter.
Mm-hmm.
So 2020, everyone jumped online and it's works so beautifully in gallery view. You wouldn't have speaker view like you if you're watching usually a speaker, right? Because you want to look at everyone. We're playing together.
Yeah.
It's eye contact. We're looking at from square to square. And there's little games. So we do have the clapping. There's about 40 foundational exercises. And now that it's a global movement, each area brings their own little cultural
Mm,
thing.
right, right.
Like we have, it started with, in India, it was called lassi laughter, where it's a yogurt drink, lassi.
Okay.
So, but now we just call it milkshake laughter because we don't know what lassi is in Canada. We don't know it's a yogurt drink, right? So it's the same movement. You just mix your ingredients and then you drink it. Ha ha! Ha, you're laughing. Or there's laughter cream, so it comes in a pump. How convenient! Or sometimes it comes in a big jar and you just glom it out. And wherever you put the laughter cream, you start laughing. Or it's a laughter shampoo.
Mm.
It's so fun. Like you can make anything into laughter, and that's the role of the laughter leader is leading the games, knowing when it's run its course, like each thing. And then between laughter sessions, in person you would do ho ho ha ha ha. Because imagine 20, 30 people all laughing and it's pretty loud.
Yeah.
It's hard to rein them back in. So if you feel like you don't want people talking in a laughter club, you don't want them in their brain, you want them in their body.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're playing, we're being childlike and we're fully oxygenating our body, just playing, just having fun. And as I said, it's the opposite of stress. So our stress dissipates and we become fully present. You can't even think. Your brain is kind of disengaged during laughter. You're laughing, ah ha ha. And even though I've been doing this since 2012, sometimes when I'm leading laughter, I forget. I've like all 40 exercises have gone out of my head. I can't think of a thing to do. So in that moment, I would do a breath because that gives me a moment to think, oh, what else can I do next?
Mhm.
And so you do the deep dive because it is the laughter and the breathing, the combination. So when we're breathing into our belly. Our diaphragm is attached to all of our organs. So what even saying ho and ha, those are moving our diaphragm.
Right, right. Well, we are going to put a link to Cathy's Chuckle Club in the podcast notes for this episode. I see here that you meet Tuesdays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So I look forward to hearing about whether people are, when they sign up and join you, because I am intrigued by this, absolutely intrigued by this. But is there anything else you'd like to share before we end today?
I would love to just talk about my latest project that came in 2020, which is creating a program for young adults with Down syndrome. Special needs is one of my wheelhouses. I've been working with folks with different abilities. Oh gosh, for a few years now, and laughter is it's not about talking. And folks with Down syndrome, this was something that was given to me as on a walk in a forest. The whole movie was given of what is coming. And I'm going to be training young adults with Down syndrome to be laughter yoga leaders so they can lead laughter for their demographic, not just for folks with Down syndrome, other folks with autism or Tourette or whatever the ability is, to lead the laughter. And what I've learned since 2020 and doing work in this area with the different abilities is that when you have somebody at the front that looks like the people in the audience participate more. And I had a young man, I was working, doing, every Friday I would go and do laughter with a group. It was called Full Access Network. I would say my fan club. Yeah. I'm going to my fan club. And there was several folks with Down syndrome, but there was all abilities, all different diagnoses, I guess is what you say. Even though Downs isn't a disability, it's a chromosome. But anyway, that's semantics. And there was one young man who was always on his cell phone. These are young adults, 21 and over, who always on a cell phone, right, doing what they see. They're young adults. I didn't think it was my role to ask him not to be on his cell phone. Who am I? And one day when I was leaving, one of the staff was out having a smoke and he said, oh, I've asked Eric not to be on his cell phone. And I said, oh, it never even occurred to me to ask him to not be on his cell phone. And so the following week, so I was like, oh, idea. The following week, they had a COVID thing and we were online and there was Eric sitting front and center on his cell phone. So I said, hey, Eric, from the TV screen. Hey, Eric, I know this laughter thing is really ridiculous, but how about just for this one time, if you put your phone away and play full on, just this one time? He did. And then when we were in person the next week, we do a thing when we're in person called the name game. And you go around and everyone says their name and then they laugh. My name's Cathy. And everyone joins in. And the purpose for that exercise is twofold. It gets us all connected. We're all in. And it shows us that, like, our name's not funny, but we can laugh. So no jokes or comedy, just laughing. Okay. So when the following week I arrive and I said, okay, time for the name game. Who wants to begin? Eric jumped up. He stood beside me and he said, I'm going to start. And he said his name, started laughing, and he stayed standing there. So I said, hey, Eric, how would you like to be my assistant? From that day forward, whenever he was my assistant, everybody else played full on. Some days, when I arrived, he was kind of buried in with his friends, and I knew he didn't want to be my assistant. And I said to him, Eric, you never have to do it if you don't want to.
Mhm.
Please don't feel like you have to. No, now I have to. I just want to be part of the audience. Please, just know. And yeah, so I know this is a really big part of my my mission going forward. In Canada, our system is broken. Young adults with varying abilities are graduated out of public school at 21 and put on a disability program, a disability pension that is not enough to live on. So they're living with their parents, which is nice, but it's stressful. It's stressful all around. And if there's, I mean, there are a lot more organizations that are hiring different people at this time. If that's not in the neighborhood where somebody lives, then they may end up just being in the basement, playing video games or watching YouTube or something and not being part. It's not about money. So with this disability pension, if they work for money, the money's clawed back from their silly little pension. And it's not about money. But anyway, it's really about being part of society and community and having a life like that you matter.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at. And when I got that vision, I contacted Dr. Kateri. Because it's fairly new. It's the 30th anniversary this year. It's a new modality, sort of. He's very approachable, and you can still connect with him. And so I wrote him and said, I had this dream, and I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Is anybody in the world doing this? He connected me with a woman in Turkey working with folks with cerebral palsy.
Mm-hmm.
Different, like, yay, good for her. Different group. And it was great. We did connect, but different group. So I said, okay, nobody's doing exactly what I want to do. And Down syndrome doesn't know socioeconomic status. It doesn't know borders. It just is. It's just an extra chromosome. And so I'm looking for assistance. If anybody is interested in this field, if anybody has a child with Down syndrome or any ability, it's not that I'm against autism or any of the others. It's just that was what was given to me in my vision, and it kind of just makes sense because folks with Down syndrome often have a thing called gummy ear. So they don't hear properly. So they often don't speak, they don't pronounce their words clearly because they say what they hear. So if we say computer, they might hear pewter. So they say pewter. And they also often have vision problems. If there's any teachers listening, the folks with Down syndrome need to sit at the front of the room. They want to be at the back with the fun kids, but they need to be at the front so they can hear better, so they can see better and be more engaged.
Yeah. Cathy, it has been absolutely fascinating to chat with you today. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. As I mentioned, we will put links in the podcast notes for people who would like to reach out to you and see more and hear more about what it is you're doing. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Good Grief. We hope that stories shared today have inspired and empowered you on your own journey of resilience. If you want to dive deeper into the themes of trauma, tragedy, and survival, be sure to check out my memoir, The Day I Became the Spider Killer, a memoir of trauma, tragedy, and survival. In this book, I shared my own raw and honest experiences, offering insights and strategies for overcoming life's toughest challenges. You can purchase the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or listen to it on Audible. Your support helps us continue to bring these powerful stories to light and spread a message of hope and resilience. Stay tuned for more incredible stories on our next episode. Until then, remember, even in the face of life's toughest trials, there can be light, growth, and good grief.